The subtle shifts in the public life of a family that once stood at the absolute center of global attention always managed to capture the collective imagination of millions. For years, the world has watched from a distance as a deeply significant personal and cultural divide unfolded across the Atlantic Ocean, separating a historic European dynasty from two of its most famous descendants who chose an entirely new path in the sunny landscapes of California. Every single photograph, every carefully curated social media post, and every rare glimpse into their private sanctuary in Montecito is instantly parsed for deeper meaning, hidden messages, and signs of structural change within their family dynamics. The public fascination with this narrative is not merely driven by a desire for entertainment, but by a profound curiosity about how ordinary human relationships survive under the extreme pressure of global scrutiny and institutional division. As the seasons change, the subtle gestures exchanged between these two worlds continue to serve as a fascinating barometer for potential reconciliation or permanent distance, illustrating the complex intersection of private emotion and massive public visibility. Before we dive into the specific details of the latest breathtaking development that has left observers absolutely stunned, take a quick moment to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss an investigative report on the events shaping our world today. The power of a single modern photograph to disrupt months of quiet speculation was demonstrated perfectly on a recent warm Sunday afternoon, when a simple family portrait emerged to challenge everything the public thought it knew about an ongoing geographical and emotional separation. In this newly released image, the focus is placed entirely on the intimate bond shared between a father and his young children, captured in a moment of pure unscripted domestic warmth that stands in stark contrast to the formal backdrops usually associated with their heritage. The young boy, now growing rapidly and showing signs of a remarkably bright future, is seen enveloping his father in a tight embrace, wearing a distinctive garment that immediately set off a wave of intense discussion among cultural commentators across the United Kingdom and beyond. By appearing in a classic sports shirt closely tied to the national heritage of his father's homeland, this young prince sent an unmistakable visual signal across the ocean, suggesting that despite years of physical separation, the roots of his paternal lineage remain deeply woven into the fabric of his daily life. The image does not merely depict a standard celebration of a traditional family milestone, but serves as a layered document indicating that connections to a distant homeland are being carefully preserved and celebrated within their peaceful American household. The presence of his younger sisters in the portrait completes a picture of a tight-knit family unit that has learned to rely entirely on one another, while navigating an environment completely removed from the historical palaces of Europe. The carefully written caption that accompanied this rare glimpse into their world emphasized a sense of profound gratitude and deep affection, describing the father as an irreplaceable anchor for his children and a source of constant strength for the entire household. For an audience accustomed to reading between the lines of every major public statement, the choice of words and the deliberate timing of the photograph served as a powerful reminder of the resilience of familial bonds when tested by immense external challenges. The visual elements of the scene, from the casual clothing to the relaxed outdoor setting, paint a vivid picture of a childhood defined by freedom, natural beauty, and a deliberate departure from the rigid protocols that governed previous generations of their famous lineage. Yet, it is the specific choice of the young boy's attire that has truly captured the attention of seasoned observers, who see the sports jersey not just as a casual clothing choice, but as a symbolic bridge connecting a quiet life in California to the grand traditions of a nation across the sea. This striking visual juxtaposition comes at a moment of heightened expectation, as whisperings from close associates suggest that this tightly knit family unit is quietly preparing for an incredibly significant transatlantic journey in the very near future. The upcoming voyage would mark the very first time in several years that the young children have traveled across the ocean to experience the atmosphere of their father's native country, creating an extraordinary opportunity for long-awaited personal interactions behind closed doors. As the date of this anticipated journey approaches, The atmosphere surrounding their upcoming arrival is filled with a mixture of intense curiosity, quiet anticipation, and a deep desire to understand what this monumental step could mean for the future of their extended family. The complex tapestry of past misunderstandings, public declarations, and deep structural shifts within their ancestral home ensures that their return will be monitored with unmatched precision by observers worldwide. Every detail of their potential itinerary, from where they might reside during their stay to the specific individuals they might meet in private settings, has become the subject of endless discussion among those who follow the evolution of modern public figures. The sheer scale of the attention directed at this upcoming event highlights the enduring power of their story, a narrative that continues to evolve in unexpected ways, proving that even the deepest divisions can give way to new chapters of mutual understanding and quiet growth. To fully comprehend the current state of affairs and the immense weight of the upcoming transatlantic journey, one must carefully examine the dramatic sequence of events that led this family to trade the historic, rain-swept estates of the British landscape for the sun-drenched coast of Southern California. It was in the early days of 2020 that the Duke and Duchess of Sussex made the historic and highly controversial decision to step back from their roles as senior working members of the royal family, a choice that reverberated through global media like a sudden thunderbolt. Having spent a little over a year raising their firstborn son within the structured, highly regulated, and deeply traditional confines of the United Kingdom, they made a sudden and definitive departure from their ancestral duties, seeking refuge first in the quiet forests of Canada before permanently establishing their private sanctuary in North America. By the summer of 2021, their family expanded beautifully with the arrival of their daughter, who was born in the quiet luxury of the Santa Barbara Cottage Hospital, anchoring their new lives even deeper into the exclusive coastal community of Montecito. This affluent Californian enclave provided the perfect backdrop for a life entirely outside the royal fishbowl, allowing the young children to grow up surrounded by natural beauty, manicured gardens, and rolling hills, away from the constant lens of the international paparazzi, and under the sole guidance of parents determined to forge a completely independent identity. Yet, the physical distance they put between themselves and the ancient palaces of London was only the beginning of a much larger, much more profound emotional separation that would soon capture the attention of the entire civilized world. As the global public struggled to understand the true motivations behind this unprecedented royal migration, the true turning point in this ongoing narrative occurred in the spring of 2021, when the couple sat down for a bombshell tell-all television interview with media icon Oprah Winfrey, an extraordinary event that permanently altered the landscape of modern royal relations and sent shockwaves through public institutions worldwide. This global broadcast was not merely a casual conversation between old friends, but a highly calculated, deeply personal, and emotionally charged exposition of the internal struggles, mental health battles, and institutional friction that the couple experienced during their time behind palace walls. The broadcast attracted tens of millions of viewers across dozens of countries, and the sheer magnitude of the revelations shook the very foundations of the monarchy, exposing a deep-seated vulnerability and a massive ideological divide between the traditional values of the historic institution and the contemporary independent perspectives of the Sussexes. For hours, audiences around the world watched in absolute fascination as the couple detailed their feelings of intense isolation, a perceived lack of institutional support, and the suffocating nature of British tabloid culture, which they claimed was left completely unchecked by the palace communications team. The immediate aftermath of the interview created a massive, unprecedented media firestorm, forcing public figures, cultural commentators, and citizens alike to choose sides in a bitter, highly public debate regarding tradition, modernization, and family loyalty. The lines were drawn clearly across the globe, and the resulting estrangement between the California-based couple and the senior members of the royal family solidified into a cold, silent barrier that many feared would never be breached, creating an atmosphere of permanent tension that lingered for years. Among the most explosive and damaging assertions made during that historic broadcast were the explicit allegations of racial bias within the royal household, a revelation that instantly transformed a private family disagreement into an international diplomatic discussion. The Duchess of Sussex revealed to a stunned global audience that during her pregnancy with her firstborn son, there had been internal conversations and concerns expressed by unnamed members of the family regarding the potential color of the child's skin ahead of his birth. This specific accusation elevated the personal family rift into a profound global conversation about systemic bias, institutional accountability, and the future of a multinational commonwealth that spans diverse populations across the globe, prompting Buckingham Palace to issue a rare official statement noting that recollections may vary. In addition to these heavy structural critiques, the interview also brought to light deeply personal, intimate grievances, including a highly publicized dispute between the Duchess and her sister-in-law, the Princess of Wales, regarding the flower girl dresses in the days leading up to the historic 2018 royal wedding. While initial tabloid reports had suggested for years that the Duchess had made her sister-in-law cry during a stressful fitting, the interview flipped the narrative entirely, with the Duchess asserting that the reverse had actually occurred, though she quickly added that an apology had been made and flowers had been sent to resolve the immediate matter. These combined revelations painted a vivid, unsettling picture of a deeply fractured family environment where personal misunderstandings and immense systemic pressures combined to create an unsustainable living situation that ultimately forced them to seek a new life across the ocean. Following those highly public disclosures, the estrangement between the two factions hardened into a seemingly permanent state of operational and emotional distance, with communication reduced to the absolute bare minimum required for official or logistical purposes. For years, the family in Montecito focused entirely on building their independent commercial, philanthropic, and media empires, creating critically acclaimed content and launching global lifestyle brands that allowed them to control their own narrative without the oversight of traditional palace courtiers. However, the underlying tension never truly dissipated, remaining a constant undercurrent in every public appearance, media venture, and charitable endeavor undertaken on both sides of the Atlantic divide, as each side navigated the fallout of a deeply public split. Now, as reliable insiders reveal that the Duke and Duchess are actively preparing to bring their young children back across the ocean this July, the stakes have never been higher, and the atmosphere is thick with unresolved conflict and intense global apprehension. This upcoming visit will be the first time the young prince and princess have touched British soil since 2022, representing a monumental shift in the family's approach to their homeland and setting the stage for a potentially volatile intersection of private family drama and intense media observation. The world now watches with bated breath to see if this summer crossing will serve as the ultimate catalyst for a quiet, long-awaited reconciliation, or if it will simply expose the unyielding depth of a divide that has redefined the modern monarchy, leaving the future of this historic lineage hanging in a delicate, unpredictable balance that could change the course of their shared history forever. The deep logistical planning and profound emotional undercurrents of this upcoming transatlantic crossing highlight the intricate, evolving dynamics of a modern dynasty attempting to balance historical precedent with deeply personal, real-world vulnerabilities. As the Duke and Duchess of Sussex quietly prepare to touch down on British soil this July, the entire narrative surrounding their complex relationship with the House of Windsor has taken on a far more urgent, deeply human dimension. At the absolute center of this anticipated reunion is the reigning monarch, who has been navigating a highly publicized, deeply challenging battle with an undisclosed form of cancer since his initial diagnosis was shared with a stunned global public. Throughout this immense health struggle, the sovereign has shown remarkable resilience, balancing his demanding constitutional state duties with rigorous medical treatments, and recently sharing the highly encouraging news that his therapeutic schedule would be scaled back due to exceptional progress and early detection. This ongoing medical journey has naturally forced a profound, reflective pause within the entire family network, casting a sharp, bright spotlight on the absolute fragility of time and the immense value of resolving long-standing personal fractures before it is tragically too late. Seasoned observers and close associates have frequently pointed out that the monarch possesses a deeply diplomatic, inherently parental desire to see his young grandchildren, wishing to foster a meaningful bond with them despite the vast geographical distances and the intense institutional barriers that have defined their young lives so far. The prospect of an intimate, strictly private gathering at a secure royal estate offers a rare, highly controlled sanctuary where ancient grievances can be quietly set aside in favor of pure, uninterrupted family connection. Completely removed from the suffocating presence of international media cameras and public commentary. Marie-Claire Richaud 1. To fully appreciate the gravity of these potential interactions, it is essential to reflect on the distinct individual journeys and the vast personal histories of the key figures navigating this delicate, highly scrutinized family landscape. The Duke of Sussex, now 41 years of age, has lived a life deeply defined by immense public visibility, profound personal tragedy, and a subsequent determined quest to establish a completely independent path focused on global philanthropy, mental health advocacy, and creative media production. His journey from a dedicated military veteran who served his country with distinction to an independent global figure based in North America reflects a complex evolution driven by a fierce desire to protect his immediate household while maintaining a deep, unspoken respect for his paternal heritage. Alongside him stands the Duchess of Sussex, 44, whose background as a highly successful American actress, articulate lifestyle entrepreneur, and dedicated humanitarian analyst brought a distinctly contemporary, globally minded energy into the traditional structures of the historic British monarchy. Her experiences behind palace walls and her subsequent focus on building an independent commercial identity in California have made her an incredibly influential, frequently discussed figure whose choices continue to spark massive international dialogue regarding modern identity, institutional adaptation, and personal autonomy. The young children at the heart of this narrative, 7-year-old Prince Archie and 5-year-old Princess Lilibet, represent an entirely new chapter for this historic lineage, growing up as dual citizens who blend the rich, ancient traditions of European royalty with the relaxed, forward-looking freedom of a contemporary American childhood. Their upbringing in the quiet coastal enclave of Montecito, filled with natural beauty and private security, stands as a vivid testament to their parents' unyielding commitment to giving them a balanced, peaceful life. Entirely independent of the rigid public expectations that governed previous generations, the upcoming July visit is uniquely significant because it also serves as a crucial operational milestone, marking the official one-year countdown to the highly anticipated Invictus Games Birmingham 2027, an internationally acclaimed adaptive sporting tournament founded by the Duke to honor and support wounded, injured, and sick service personnel and veterans worldwide. This profound charitable connection provides a powerful, highly respected framework for their return to the United Kingdom, anchoring their presence in a universally praised cause that highlights the family's enduring commitment to public service and international veteran welfare. However, the path toward this highly anticipated summer crossing has been significantly complicated by intense ongoing debates regarding official security protocols and personal safety measures on British soil, a critical issue that has remained a major point of contention for years. Ever since the couple chose to step back from their senior working roles within the royal family, they lost their automatic access to tax-funded, state-provided police protection, initiating a protracted, highly public legal battle in the London courts as the Duke consistently argued that private security forces lacked the necessary international intelligence access to properly protect his family in his native country. Recent reports from close associates indicate that the monarch may be stepping in with his own private resources to help facilitate a highly secure environment for the family's stay, illustrating a powerful gesture of parental goodwill aimed at eliminating the final logistical hurdles preventing his grandchildren from returning to their ancestral home. This potential breakthrough suggests that behind the scenes, away from the harsh rhetoric of public discourse, a quiet, methodical effort is being made to build a functional bridge between Montecito and London, driven by a mutual understanding that life is precious and family connections must transcend institutional divides. Show 2. The enduring global fascination with this ongoing family narrative lies in its profound ability to mirror universal human struggles with forgiveness, legacy, and reconciliation, projecting these intimate, deeply emotional themes onto a massive international stage. For years, the world has analyzed every subtle shift in communication, every legal maneuver, and every rare public photograph, recognizing that the outcome of this historic split will permanently shape the cultural landscape of the modern monarchy for decades to come. As the family prepares for what could be the most consequential transatlantic journey of the decade, the atmosphere remains balanced on a razor-thin edge between deep-seated caution and immense transformative hope. If the private meetings in July prove successful, they could initiate a long, slow, and highly rewarding process of emotional healing, allowing a sovereign battling illness to embrace his youngest descendants and enabling a burdened son to find a sense of true peace within his ancestral homeland. Conversely, if the visit is marred by logistical friction or